This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie telling House members last evening that the government, web shops and casino operators share the cost to pay gaming consultants. Those experts shared advice on regulating the numbers industry.
That's right. The Prime Minister says under the Lotteries and Gaming Act, all investigations that are done into licensing are paid for by the applicant, whether they receive the license. He admitted this applies to the casino or web shop industry, and the predicate of cost is based on asking the industry to pay.
I can say that the first request was $500,000, the second request was $500,000. But the point, Mr. Speaker, is that it is a legitimate request. But I can say, by way of response, that whereas the government will meet some cost for all of the entire process, but the industry has been required to make the substantive contribution to the cost.
Well, Mr. Christie defended government's decision to regulate the web shop industry after the central bank governor expressed concern about the negative implications of the unregulated sector.
And there was a concern, Mr. Speaker, that the banking system was being undermined because millions and millions of dollars were being used to create a new banking order. It was a substantive intervention with respect to the economy of the Bahamas, how the economy functions. It was that discussion that I took to my colleagues. It was that discussion that I took to the Christian community when I explained to them the difficulty the government was facing.
Well, today debate continued on the gaming bill. While the opposition criticized the PLP administration for bringing the legislation, government members stood their ground, saying such a move is in the best interest of the country. Carla Palmer has more.
No, is how the Member of Parliament for Long Island, Mrs. Loretta Butler Turner, says she will be voting on the gaming legislation. While she does not believe that gambling is morally wrong or unchristian, she's cognizant of the negative impact she says gambling can have on individuals and family life, as she described the devastating effects taking place in her constituency of Long Island. With a population of some 3,500 residents, Butler Turner says there are some 15 number houses on Long Island.
I have seen families torn apart, fishermen going out to fish, bringing their monies in, and housewives spinning all day, losing much of the money that the family would have saved for. I've seen grocery stores with very little on their shelves because people are no longer buying groceries. Instead, they're taking their last dollars to try and buy a dream. I have seen businesses throughout the community literally shutting down. But I think the most disheartening thing for me, Mr. Speaker, is on a Sunday morning, instead of church, people are going into number houses, and some of these number houses are right next to the church, and right next to the number houses are liquor stores. Mr. Speaker, there's got to be something wrong with this.
Yamacraw Member of Parliament and Minister of Social Services, the Honourable Melanie Griffin, says she's contributing to the debate with mixed emotions. After much soul-searching and praying, she says she has taken a deep look at the position the government finds itself and supports the bill in the interest of the Bahamian people.
We are again faced with some hard decisions. We have an antiquated tax system which we have long outgrown, and the revenues from it do not allow us to pay our debts. We have an outdated gaming legislation from 1969 which needs to be modernized if our casino industry is to once again compete on the world stage. We have an illegal number system that has been in existence for more than half a century. It has grown to the point that we have been advised that it is undermining our economy and opened us up to condemnation for possible money laundering and possible sanctions from international financial institutions. It is time to make the hard decisions, and make them we must.
Minister Griffin says the government is at a crossroad of a modern Bahamas and must now make the necessary changes beneficial to the future of the country. I'm Carla Palmer for ZNS Network News.
Well, Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama, Pt.2, says he does not support the gaming bill presently before Parliament. He scolded government, saying the bill is a direct slap in the face of the church and the Bahamian people.
On January 28, 2013, those people interested in the issue before us spoke, and they spoke loudly and convincingly, despite what the side opposite considers a low turnout. Given the turn of events today, I too wish I had not dirtied my finger to participate in that farce and terrible precedent. Mr. Speaker, as a leader, one of the worst things you can do is to mislead your people and have their trust shaken in the honesty of your words. The Prime Minister gave his word to the Bahamian people, and nothing should have caused him to deviate from that solemn promise. If he had changed his mind or cannot live with the results of the poll, he should go back to the people for a new mandate. Plain and simple.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Sieska Adderley. Months before a 7.5% value-added tax is to be implemented on January 1st, members of the VAT education team have intensified their efforts hosting its latest public education forum in Grand Bahama. Meetings have been scheduled for the Foster B. Pestana Parish Hall at Christ the King Church, Mount Zion Baptist Church in West End, and St. Matthew's Baptist Church in East Grand Bahama. In other business news, tourism officials have dropped ticket prices for the highly anticipated American HBCU football game taking place at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium this weekend. They have now been reduced to $10, $20, and $50. Central State University and the Texas Southern University will square off in the first college football game to be played in the Bahamas in decades. And in international news, the European Union has agreed to impose new sanctions on Russia over its role in the Ukraine crisis on Friday. This comes after sharp disagreements between member states on how to factor in a fragile truce between Ukrainian troops and pro-Russian rebels. The move was aimed at maintaining pressure on Russia. This has been your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm C.S. Scatterly.